Now that's the website of the pre-qualification program, which I think is extremely rich and contains a lot of information, also sometimes answers, like I had a former question, how the local manufacturers, and I can say we have done some work, let's say the bioequivalence studies. We have a lot of guidance for the manufacturers, how they could in certain cases, instead of in vivo bioequivalence study, limit themselves with based on the biowaiver concept in vitro, so to say, surrogate data, which are much more affordable, but it's still science-based approach. And we have had also some scientific papers on that. Now, medicine's pre-qualification program, actually it has 3 in 1, because de facto nowadays it's 3 small pre-qualification programs under one umbrella. We are dealing also with pre-qualification of APIs. It's the most recent active pharmaceutical ingredients. We are dealing with finished pharmaceutical preparations, and we are dealing as a separate stream also with national quality control laboratories. And actually, in Africa, there are a couple of quality control laboratories who have been pre-qualified by us, and one is actually in Tanzanian Food and Drug Administration, and another one is just their neighbors, which is in Kenya, and then we have in South Africa, and we are working about 20 plus more quality control labs in Africa, where the progress is in different speed. Now, the snapshot of the activities, which gives the context, 2012, we pre-qualified total 48 medicines, reaching pre-qualified by us medicines 317, total on the list 410, but this includes also, which is US tentative approvals for the antiretrovirals, Article 58, because we don't duplicate the other efforts. We include them on our list basically based on confidentiality arrangements and trusting the work done by other regulators, trying to give ourselves examples for the regulators not to duplicate the efforts when you can't give much added value. Then significant number of anti-TB drugs. Last year, major progress, 19, and anti-malarials also 10 products. Also some interesting dispersible, which is for kids, artemethyl lumefantrine, dispersible efavirenz and lamivudine, and also the first zinc product. Then active pharmaceutical ingredients, total today 28. Interesting, we started with Indians, now Chinese manufacturers are coming, and first ones are already getting pre-qualified. Also the good news is that the country spectrum is widening. We have probably coming soon also from Russia, first pre-qualified medicine on board, which is quite a different spectrum of activities there. Then quality control labs, totally in all 6 WHO regions, 26, and last year joined China, Russia, Thailand, and Belarus. So inspections, we are doing also inspections on API level. We inspect API manufacturers, and we do really inspect each and every one, not doing the paper assessment only. Then we are inspecting CROs for the clinical research, and we're of course inspecting the finished dosage form manufacturers. And quality control labs. Then capacity building. Now we involve and we do our work with regulators. We have regulators in WHO doing it, who are doing the job they are qualified for, and we involve a lot of regulators from the well-resourced regulatory authorities like European countries, Germany, BfArM regulators have been with us, UK regulators, Swedish regulators, Estonian regulators, French regulators, Canadians, Australians, US has not been. But this is not the professional reasons, it's something else. So, and also, of course, we involve the regulators from the target countries where the products go. And they are also part of the process all the time. Just now, after a week, we will have a training course again, 50 participants from all WHO regions, how to do the proper assessment of generic pharmaceutical dossier, which is coming up in Copenhagen. Last year we had 27 capacity building exercises, which involved 1,561 staff from manufacturers, regulators and quality control labs from 78 countries. In addition, we are quite unique in WHO. We have rotational posts which we never fulfill. It's always fulfilled by the regulator coming from the country, staying with us 3 months and going back to the authority where he or she is working. And I'm really very proud that Hiti was one of the first rotational fellows we had. So what is then the capacity the local manufacturers to produce to the WHO level of standard? It varies. Different countries have different starting position. Those who had better starting position got more quickly moving, others are catching up. Indians were the first. Why? Because Indians had the products already in the regulated, well-regulated markets, in US, in Europe, so they had experience. Chinese delay, but they were coming on board. Other countries a bit even more delay, but coming gradually on board. And from Africa we have today, from South Africa, from Kenya, from Zimbabwe, but we are working also with a number of other manufacturers from Africa, and we are working with Nigerian manufacturers. So we are also working always closely with the regulators. And in case of Nigeria, it was the NAFDAC who was putting us, you know, the list of manufacturers they think are promising, and we are trying to take the agenda forward from there. Now, challenges, of course, but also the opportunities, because I'm getting back when we started with antiretrovirals, where we did really major breakthrough, and probably Prequal is to be blamed that so many people are today receiving the antiretroviral therapy. Because we made the generic quality medicines accessible and available. The per patient cost per year treatment before was something in the range of probably 15,000 around. Now the first line therapy is around $100 per patient per year. So it's a major breakthrough in price, but not paying the price for the quality. These products are all quality generics because they are either US tentative approvals or pre-qualified by us. Some of them gone through both pathways, to be more sure. Why they do it, it's a bit mystery for me, but some manufacturers go through both. So, needs for capacity building, there is of course much more needs that we can satisfy. I was putting quite impressive numbers, but we have always more needs. The course we have in Copenhagen, we could have 300 instead of 50, but we can't just take more working meaningfully than 50. We are trying to accommodate with all the partners. We are working with some of the NGOs, other parties doing similar job, trying to bridge, to build the alliances to be more effective, but still the needs are much more. And I must say, in many areas, local manufacturers really need quite specific technical skills to be taught to them, and made it sustainably implemented, which is another trick. Cooperation with other stakeholders, as I said, we are cooperating with a number of stakeholders, including also NGOs. Can't list all, would be too long time. We are trying to put also very many things in public domain and publishing. There are the quite unique publication deficiencies in generic product dossiers as submitted to WHO Prequalification program in the Journal of Generic Medicines. Gives quite a good overview what are the major gaps where the companies mostly fail. This is the breakdown about the quality issues, also breakdown by the different groups of products. For many reasons, there are differences between the different groups of products. For the time being, we are battling with reproductive health. Very interesting products around, but in many cases, no quality products. And concluding remarks. Prequalification program has been extremely powerful tool to pull the quality medicines agenda globally. We have caused also a lot of collateral damage that I can't even list, because all the procurement agencies trying to align the quality assurance policies, which was not there. We have also issued a specific guideline, which is model quality assurance system for procurement agents, which lives its own life now. It's much more used by other parties than we ever imagined, and we are now revising it. It's also referred in many publications. Many other things we have tried to pull and been quite successful. It ensures the quality during the whole life cycle of products, and this is what people forget. It's not just putting something on the list. You have the responsibility until it's on the list. And the major gap in the many countries' regulatory setting is either not dealing with variations or not having given regulatory pathway for dealing with variations. But manufacturers do, after getting the product authorized, sometimes 100 plus changes. And essentially, it may be not anymore the same product, it's something completely different after these changes, and somebody has to take care of looking on them, plus safety and quality monitoring. We have been also very strong in capacity building. We have a lot of layers of capacity building. We are also having inspectors from countries joining us to go into India and China, from the target countries. We have also tried to push the assessors to do upgrading the knowledge, working together. We have done also joint assessments with groups of countries. Again, East African community has been much more active, and we work with those who are proactive. So we have done joint assessments with East African community so that we do it together. When it gets pre-qualified, it gets also authorized in the countries. And we are planning actually another joint assessment with the East African community if we can find all the missing bits and pieces to pull them together. Also, we have been in other countries in capacity building. Nigeria is an example, but not the only one. And also, we have done some very innovative ways of regulating certain things which are, so to say, regulatory gaps. As I said, we have worked very actively with the biopharmaceutical classification system to try to look where you could have scientific reasoning not to have in vivo bioequivalence studies. And it should be, of course, based on scientific knowledge, not just looking out of the window. And we have published on yes, there is a methodology I'll call low methodology, look out of the window. Where we should go? You look out of the window, oh, let's go left. What's the evidence for that? There is no evidence for that. So we have tried to do this based on the evidence rather than by low methodology. And also there are some other things we have tried to look what we can do.